How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Did you know that if you carry a balance on your credit card, you no longer get the benefits of having a grace period? A grace period is where in your credit card, if you spend something on your credit card, you actually pay no interest. However, if you purposely keep a balance on your credit card, as some people do, thinking that it will improve their credit score, well, you no longer get the grace period, and every time you spend something, you actually have to pay interest on it starting from the day that you actually pay. Let me explain a little bit about grace periods and how you can effectively use the grace period so that you don't pay any interest, how you can actually lose the grace period and end up having to pay interest all the time, and once you do that, how you can actually get your grace period back. Here's your billing cycle. This is month 1, month 2, month 3. These are billing cycles, so not necessarily like the first of the month is here and the 31st is here. It's your billing cycle, whichever that ends up to be. When you first get your credit card, you can actually spend anything you want on that credit card up to the limit of that credit card, and as you're spending it throughout this billing cycle, you actually don't have to pay any interest as you're buying stuff. So once this billing cycle closes, you'll have a grace period of about 21 to 28 days before that amount for this billing cycle is actually due. It says so over here. If you pay the full balance before the due date all the time, you're actually going to keep on getting this grace period. So the next month over here, whatever you buy, you're not going to have to pay interest on whatever you buy immediately, and so forth and so on. And that's the way I use my credit card. I always pay the full balance every single time on the due date. And that's also how I get a really high credit score, and that's about 835 right now, last I checked. For one reason or another, maybe bankers telling people to keep a balance on their credit card for some reason, maybe so they would pay interest into it, so they would earn money, of course. But really, when you do that, you're actually just paying the bank all the time. Let's say on month 1 you spent $1,000, and on the due date you paid $999, which I think some people actually do because they want to keep a small amount in there for some weird reason so that they actually have a small balance in their account. Some people think having a small balance actually helps your credit score, which is completely false. You should not do that because that essentially nulls out your grace period, and you'll never have a grace period really, because every single time you buy something, you immediately have to start paying interest. So once you pay $999 here, they retroactively go back here, and if you bought something here, you have to pay interest on it all the way throughout this month 2 and all the way throughout this time until you pay it all off. So let's say at the beginning of month 2, you actually spent $1,000 in the beginning. Now let's estimate maybe your credit APR is around 12%, so that every $1,000 every single month is $100 of interest roughly. And over here in month 1 due date, you paid $999, so they went back and then go, okay, just kidding, you don't have a grace period anymore for these immediate purchases, so we're going to calculate interest for that $1,000. So at this billing boundary, they're going to go, oh, you owe $1,000 plus the interest, and it's due somewhere over here about 21 to 28 days later. When you don't pay your full balance by the due date, you kick into this thing where you no longer have a grace period, and any purchase that you make immediately accrues interest, which is really bad because the interest on credit cards, it's not 12%, it's certainly like 18, 22, 25%, which eats a lot into your budget. So don't null out your grace period by paying a partial monthly if you can pay the full balance. It's kind of hard to get back your grace period. It may take about 2 months of paying your balance in full before you can get your grace period back. And some credit card policies actually requires you to pay in full for 2 months before they would give you back your grace period. So let's say you're a little bit ways in here and you're about to pay by this due date, okay? You're being responsible. So you said, you see the statement and it says $1,100. So you go, okay, I'm gonna write a check and you're gonna pay it right before this due date. Completely legal, okay? You're not gonna get any charges, and you know, your credit report will stay looking good. But then once you reach over here, if you spent anything in month 3, you still do not have that grace period, which means anything that you spent in month 3, you also have some sort of finance charge and interest charge on top of that. When you go about trying to get back your grace period, you actually have to pay the current balance and any potential interest that may not appear until the end of the billing cycle. So the best way to get back your grace period really quickly is to go into your account and look at the full balance due. Okay, not the statement balance. You need to look at the full balance. Don't use your card for a little while just to let things settle a little bit. And then you gotta watch at the end of the statement period, right when they give you the statement, they're going to charge you the interest for the stuff you did in that month. Then you also got to pay that right away, and possibly then you might be able to get back your grace period on the next month. This scheme kind of reminds me of student loans and mortgages, because if you were about to pay off either of those, they usually have a calculator where it goes, okay, if you're going to completely pay it off in 3 days, let's say, which is maybe the time it takes you to mail in the check, it takes 3 days, then they'll go, okay, in 3 days you would owe this amount. So you need to write a check for a little bit more so that you don't end up in this cycle where you pay it off, okay, and then they don't charge you the interest yet until later, and then later on you think that you paid it fully off, but then a little bit of interest amount pops up, and then you go, oh, okay, let me pay that $10 off, and on it goes. And if you don't pay what's going to be due, including the interest that is not shown, then you're going to end up going in this cycle for quite a few times before you can get your grace period back. So I hope this helps a lot of people not carry a balance just to improve their credit score. Comment down below. Let me know if you actually did this, where you keep a balance just to improve your credit score. If you're interested in supporting me and this channel, you can go in the video description down below and check out the Audible link where you can actually get a free audiobook for your first month free trial. And even if you cancel, you can still keep the audiobook and you would still support this channel. So really great, right? You can get a free book and you can support this channel without actually paying anything, really. If you're interested in supporting me directly, I have a Patreon link over here if you're interested. And don't forget to subscribe over here. Thanks for watching.